to my daughter, the people of St. Michael Southeast have been good to me. And I was able to accumulate the funds to send you to get a good education. They owe you nothing. I thank you. But I want you to understand what Santia said to me. Daddy, I intend to serve the people of St. Michael Southeast with my heart, mind, body, and soul. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you my daughter, Santia Bradshaw.
Awaris, Tanis, you have no idea who you're up against, my friend. When I have no time with them.
Yo, Bradshaw, you fit tell them you have no idea what you are up against elections, man. You have no idea who you are up against on elections, man. Because Santia on top, so Busherers and fans them up. Bradshaw them can't stop, so Busherers and fans them up. Santia on top, so Busherers and fans them up. Like a package we sell, Santia we charge up, we charge up, we charge up. We can't tire, but pressure we charge up, we charge up. Santia charge up. Somebody tell the tennis you fi move on the way, move on the way, move on the way, move on the way. Because we full of energy, pack up our energy, move on the way. And if you never know, we come to rise up, we come to rise up. I said we come to rise up, we come to rise up. We coming to take them down. We will limit this round.
We coming to take them down. We charge up. Sophie's charge up. Good night, St. Michael Sophie's. Beautiful, beautiful. It is an amazing feeling to stand here tonight. I want to thank all of you from all the surrounding areas, from Bottom Close, Factory Avenue, Parkinson Field, Rock Close, everywhere that is listening, all of the Barbados Labour Party supporters, all of the Democratic Labour Party supporters who are here tonight as well. I welcome you to this meeting. As I was walking up the road, I said to one of the supporters that I can't imagine what my father feels like. Because I remember as a little girl being in this constituency, sitting in the audience, sitting with some of you, and watching him on a political platform. And tonight it must be interesting for him, throughout this whole campaign in fact, to stand and watch me on a political platform in St. Michael Southeast. And I must tell you that I don't believe that he had the amount of support that I had when he was running. Because it is amazing the support that the people of St. Michael Southeast have given to me thus far. And I expect that over the course of the next few weeks and over the course of the next few years, that this support is going to grow. You see the youngsters at my side, I mean, it is amazing, and I thank each and every one of you. But one of the things that Brady didn't mention to you is that I not only told him that I would serve the people of St. Michael Southeast with all my heart and my soul, but I also told him I'm in this thing for a very long time. A very, very long time. And this isn't about winning an election. This is about changing people's lives and being able to make a difference in people's lives. Because the young people that I give support to, the middle-aged people that I give support to, and the elderly people that I give support to, it is all about transforming a community and making a difference in the lives of the very people whom I love and who love me. And I stand here tonight for those of you whom I have not met, some of you whom I have not interacted with. I want to say that I'm coming to your homes. And I welcome you into my office as well. You know, St. Michael Southeast is a very large constituency. But I believe that even if you have not met me, you have heard about me. You have seen me speaking in the Senate. You've heard me on political platforms. You've heard me defending the people of St. Michael Southeast. And I'm confident that you have heard of the good work that I've been doing. And these people tonight are testimony to the good work that I've been doing. Because I don't believe that I could round up this amount of support by doing nothing or being critical of others and doing nothing. And so again, I thank all of the people here tonight for being able to give me that support. Now, I'm not sure what the other speakers before me have said, but I want to take a little bit of time to talk to you about my reasons for entering political life. Because my reasons are many. I believe, because of my father, who has served the people of this constituency for several years, that when the people of a constituency ask you to serve, you can do nothing less than join with them to represent them. And when the St. Michael's Southeast constituency branch asked me to serve this constituency as its representative for the Barbados Labour Party, I willingly accepted the opportunity to do so. And I must tell you that as a young child, I always believed that I would one day be representing St. Michael's Southeast. I would be parked at various people when Brady was out canvassing. I would have to go to children's parties while he was doing his duties as a representative. I would be at the football games. I would even have football boots in my house. And at the time, I couldn't even understand why my house was filled with all these yellow and black football boots. I couldn't understand why most of my young childhood years, my father spent absent from the home. But it is because, well, as I've gotten older, rather, that I've come to realize by interacting with each and every one of you that Santia Bradshaw touched your lives in some way. Whether it was by providing you with a house so that you could raise your families, whether it was getting you employment so that you could sustain yourselves and do better for your standard of living, whether it was assisting with the sporting community and the cultural activities, he provided a foundation that I believe many of you, from what you've told me, have appreciated. And I understand now better what it is to serve and what it is that was meant by his absence from being outside of the home. And I'm glad that I gave him to you. And I'm glad that he has raised me to understand that you don't just serve Barbados Labour Party supporters, but that you serve a constituency. And in that constituency, you may have to help from time to time Democratic Labour Party supporters. Or you may have to help people who don't support any political party. But at the core of whatever you do is that you do things the Barbados Labour Party way, which is to provide a better life for all Barbadians. And that is what I believe in my heart. It doesn't matter what political affiliation you may be. It doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter the sex. At the end of the day, when you give yourself to public life, you give yourself to the people of a constituency and all of the people of that constituency to serve. So whether some of you come or you hear that I've given things to Democratic Labour Party supporters, or I've given things to children of people who support the Democratic Labour Party, my conscience is clear. Because I give because I can. I give because I believe that if I can make a difference in the lives of the people in this constituency, then I have a responsibility to do so. So who want to get vexed can get vexed. But that is my way. That is the way I am going to be. That is the way I am now. And that is the way I am going to die. Now, I need to talk a little bit about certain comments that have been made on these various Democratic Labour Party platforms. Because I understand that the Prime Minister of this country has taken it upon himself to say that there are two Bradshaws running in this race. Now I say to you that I am proud that Santia Bradshaw, in his 70s, a former representative of this constituency, and my father can walk with me through St. Michael's Southeast. I am proud to stand here in front of you tonight and know that he will die with a smile on his face whenever his time comes, because he raised me to serve the people, and that is what I am doing, and I am making him proud. And if members of the Democratic Labour Party have children that they cannot walk with and who have let them down, or that they have come only recently to know, that is something they will have to deal with. But I love my father, and I will take on anybody who challenges Delal Bradshaw. And I know that from talking to you, you too can take them on. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when I talk to you, you know what he's done for each and every one of you. But it goes further. Not only is he or has been a representative of this constituency, but he is also the godfather of several of the children in this constituency. And for even those young people and even middle-aged people who are not his godchildren, he is still a father figure to the people in this constituency. And I can tell you that the love that he shows to me, he shows to each and every one of you. And in some cases where there is no father figure in the household, it is Delal Bradshaw that provides that role model for the people of St. Michael Southeast. So I say to Frundell Stewart and to every Democratic Labour Party member who dares to stand on a political platform and talk about families first, and then have the audacity to come in St. Michael Southeast or anywhere and talk about two Bradshaws running in the race. Come again. But I also want to talk about the person who is running against me. Because my Bible tells me that lying is an abomination in the eyes of the Lord. And therefore, when you come on political platforms to preach, you must be mindful of the holy words that are written in the biblical scriptures. And I say to my opponent tonight, you do not know what you are up against. Because I have been raised with a biblical background, with a religious and scripture background. And I don't use the words of the Lord in vain. And if it is that you're going to preach to the people and you're going to tell the people you're going to deliver them, then you have to act according to the words that you say. And it is not good enough to tell the people that you are going to do something and don't do it. It is not enough to promise the people that you will deliver on jobs and not deliver. It is not good enough for you to promise the people to go to an institution and they are going to find work. And when they get there, the people don't even know who it is that sent them. There is no job waiting for them. I say to the people of St. Michael Southeast that you deserve better. And better is going to come. Because I take the position that if you cannot deliver on what you say, then you should take the people into your confidence and explain to them why you cannot deliver. You do not tell the people or promise the people of a constituency that you can deliver the sun, the moon, and the stars, and then find that the people are disappointed because you have not been able to do what you say. You do not tell the people that you are born and bred in the constituency and that you're from down in bottom close, but that you go to a nomination with a police escort. What kind of madness is that? Santia Bradshaw walked from Princess Royal with a team of supporters through Golden Rock, up through Marsden Road, up to Regent Hill, and to Parkinson School with no police escort. That is how you represent the people of a constituency. You lead by example. I have nothing to fear in St. Michael Southeast. I can go on every block in St. Michael Southeast day or night. I don't need the police. In fact, what I try to do is to get the police to work in harmony with St. Michael Southeast. I sat in a meeting with Patrick Tannis about a year ago. I can call his name. I'm afraid, I tell you. Tannis, you don't know what you are up against. I call in names. The one called my name, I call in names tonight. I sat in a meeting with him and the Royal Barbados Police Force. discussing the issues of St. Michael's Southeast and the levels of violence in the community and the fear that many of you have faced in the community because of gunplay and because the children couldn't run around freely. And I heard Patrick Tannis tell the police force that the solution to the problem was to go on the blocks and bring the people together by taking them into the church. Now, the police officers started to roll their eyes, and they were in awe that Patrick Tannis would go on the blocks and invite the people on the blocks into the church. Now, I'm not saying that young people shouldn't go to church, but I want you to understand that if you are going to represent a constituency, you have to understand that the reason a lot of young people in this country do not respect people in the church is because they are like Patrick Tannis. And that when they say they are going to do something, they don't do it. And when they promise to the people of a constituency that they're going to do something and they don't do it, and they come in their collar and tie and their cloak of the religious order, that it disappoints the people of this country. So you can't come telling people that you're going to put them in a religious institution to be able to turn their ways. What you have to do is to get amongst the people. You have to solve the problems that the people in a constituency are facing. And you have to hold them by the hand, and you have to lead them to where you want them to go. If you fail to do that, you have failed the people of the constituency. When Mia Amor Motley asked me to get involved in the Lime Pelican competition and to work with the academics football team in this constituency, I didn't take the opportunity to have a photo op. I didn't hand them a check and say, here's a donation to get some balls. I put on my software. I drove in my car to every practice session. If somebody got sick, I took them to the hospital. If they needed assistance, financial assistance to assist them because, there's not a lot of money in the football when you're training, I gave them the assistance. And every game I was there on the bench with the football team. When a player's family died, we all banded with the black around our sleeves and we walked in unity because we understood that if we're going to change a community, it starts with the representative also being a part of the movement in a constituency. And you don't stand on the sideline and say the young people are bad. You get involved with the youth and try to shape their lives and give them hope in a society that right now is hopeless. But I say to Patrick Tannis, no amount of holding any tournaments and doing any kind of photo opportunities in this constituency will change what is in the heart of the people and the minds of the people about you. Because this election is not about what you promise to the people of this country. It is about the hope that you give to the people. And that by the deeds that you do, that you will be known as giving the service to a constituency that deserves leadership at this time. We have seen that the Barbados Labour Party over the years has ensured that this constituency was paramount in importance to the Barbados Labour Party. Santia Bradshaw was a minister. Hamilton Lashley was made a minister of poverty alleviation, helping many of you in this constituency. But when the Democratic Labour Party asked him to join them, for the last 4 years, the people of this constituency cannot say with any honesty that they have benefited by Hamilton Lashley being a member of the Democratic Labour Party. There are no floodlights on Parkinson pasture. When Santia Bradshaw was the minister, he would have built a number of the recreational facilities in this constituency, giving many of you the opportunity to have somewhere to play and to run about and to craft your sports in the area and to become some of the best players that Barbados has ever produced in various sports. But you mean to tell me that you have a representative who has crossed the floor, who is with the ruling government, and a lot of these things in this constituency that need to be done have been neglected, and you're going to vote for the Democratic Labour Party? Well, I have news for you tonight. The Barbados Labour Party, and I'm testimony to this, it is the Barbados Labour Party that has allowed me to be in this position to stand here in front of each and every one of you tonight. Apart from the fact that I've had the benefit of an education, it is Owen Seymour Arthur that has given me as political leader the opportunity to serve in the public service and to serve on 3 statutory boards in this country. He's given me the opportunity to be able to work as an advisor for the creative industries in this country. So when we talk about the Barbados Labour Party and about how Owen Arthur treating women badly, I say to you, look at me. I am proof that the Barbados Labour Party has a proud record and a proud legacy of giving women an opportunity to serve in public life. I am one of the youngest candidates and the youngest female candidate in the Barbados Labour Party. And I'm proud of that. I am very proud of that. Because when I look on the faces of a number of the young people, I know that they too can be the next representative of St. Michael Southeast. I know that it gives them hope that somebody has a voice and understands their concerns. And those are the things that matter to them, that they can look up to somebody who can walk with each and every one of them throughout the constituency. But I'll tell you this. When people come to you to beg for a vote, you have to ask some serious questions. Because Patrick Tannis was the head of the Constituency Council. He was the head of the Constituency Council that had money. And that had money, according to the Democratic Labour Party, to do and to help things in this constituency and to help people in this constituency. But I want to know how many of you tonight have benefited from the Constituency Council. Because if I were the president of the Constituency Council and I was deciding that I was going to run in public life as a representative of St. Michael Southeast, I would have wasted no time ensuring that my record was so crystal clear and my record was A+, that I could come to the people and say that I help people to get assistance to be entrepreneurs, and that I help people to be able to set up their own businesses, and that I help people to be able to have bands to create activities in the community, and that I was even able to give money to the academics to be able to go into the football. But no such thing can the opposing candidate come to the people of this constituency and say that he did as the representative of the Constituency Council. Furthermore, all I'm hearing is talk about how I pull down wires down a Meadow Road. As if I was driving the truck. As if I decided that I'm going to endanger my life and the lives of others and drive into Meadow Road with a music truck and deliberately and maliciously pull down wires. Now, I have to tell the people of this constituency that I smile. I didn't even make a comment to CBC when they asked me. Because as far as I'm concerned, it is a non-issue. Instead of Patrick Tannis and Undine Whittaker and others, ask the people who were on the truck how they felt. Be compassionate about the experience that they went through as the wires were coming down. Instead of them going to the households and asking the residents that were affected by the wires coming down if everything was okay and if the services were back on. Instead, what they did is they tried to block Santia Bradshaw and myself as we walked into the constituency to visit the residents. And they got here last night and said that we need to apologize for Brady calling a lady ignorant because of the way she behaved. Well, I want this echoed. There is no apology by Santia Bradshaw or Santia Bradshaw to anyone for what happened, particularly to the woman who accosted my father. She lucky, that's all I can tell you. But I will assure each and every one of you tonight that not one of the residents who were affected in Meadow Road had a bad thing to say about the incident that happened. Yes, they were upset about what happened, But as I walked to each and every one of them and explained the unfortunate situation, they all understood that it was a mistake. It was an error. And they were fortunate, like we were, who were on the truck, that nothing happened to anyone. There's no politics in that. Instead of Patrick Tannis and others telling you that the facility at Meadow Road that burnt down several months ago has not been replaced, and that they cannot tell you when it will be replaced, they wanted me to talk about electricity poles being pulled down. I say to you that it is a desperate attempt on Patrick Tannis and the Democratic Labour Party. Because I know that there are other issues in Meadow Road as well. You have issues of debushing. And if they want to talk about issues in Meadow Road, let me talk about some of the issues. Because it is Santia Bradshaw who paid for a bobcat to be able to go into Meadow Road and other areas across this constituency to deal with the issues of debushing and the overgrown areas. Not Patrick Tannis and the Constituency Council, Santia Josette O'Barra Bradshaw. And I am no representative of St. Michael Southeast on record. But the fact is, it is the things that you do before you are elected that matter. I don't have any need to get into parliament to get a part of the public purse. My record is clean. Huh? No clients have ever fired me. I have not written any checks that have bounced. If I say I'm going to give an entity money, I do what I say. If I cannot deliver, I tell the people I cannot deliver. And that is why I have the respect of the people in this constituency. When I tell the people of this constituency that there is hope with the Barbados Labour Party, I don't do so because I'm asking for the mighty vote. I'm not doing it for some personal satisfaction. I do it because I believe that the Barbados Labour Party has a proud legacy of delivering to the people of this country. We are a party that has been able to reduce unemployment and to get all of our people, or a large majority of our people, back to work. We do so because we have brains, and we have experience, and we have youth, and we have a team of people who understand that it cannot be business as usual. We have a team of people led by Owen Seymour Arthur, a brilliant mind that has been able to turn this country around before. And I have every confidence in the Barbados Labour Party leadership that he will do it again. But the beautiful thing about it is that he's going to have me by his side. That is the beautiful thing. And he's going to have a team of people that are not in this game for the sake of just being a member of parliament, but that I honestly believe the people who are members of the Barbados Labour Party running as candidates have the interests of the people of Barbados at heart. And they understand that coming to public life is a sacrifice. They understand that even when we win the government on the 21st of February, that it is not going to be an easy road. Because we have a lot of the Democratic Labour Party mess to clean up in this country. And that is why when I say to many of you, hold strain. Not don't panic, not we can do better, but just hold strain and believe that the Barbados Labour Party will deliver. Believe that the Barbados Labour Party understands that St. Michael Southeast needs proper representation. And that through me, I can be your voice to be able to echo the sentiments and the concerns that many of you experience in this constituency. Because every day, I hear the concerns expressed by many of you about the hungry belly children that had to go to school without a proper meal. Or the fact that you don't have enough money to be able to pay for the children to go to lessons. And each and every one of you know that education in this country is important if you're going to lift your people out of poverty. And each and every one of you know what you have to do to be able to uplift your children, to get them out of a poverty situation. And each and every one of you know the situation at the welfare department, that you're asked to go there and wait for long periods of time and come away sometimes with checks that really will not go and carry you the full mileage for a week or a month. But the fact is that a lot of times it takes away your pride, having to go and explain your situation and not having it acted on quickly enough to be able to enable you to deal with your children and your financial situation. That is what I hear every single day about the electricity bills that are being cut off. And if Patrick Tannis want to talk, let me talk. Because they ain't gonna come on no political platform no more and talk nonsense to the people of St. Michael's Southeast. Because if you're gonna come here and talk about the fact that the company that your wife working for causing people to get locked up in this country, and that you cannot even intervene to get an old lady who owed the company $800 from going to jail. But Santia Josette or Mara Bradshaw put her money where her mouth is, because I could not allow an old lady with her children and her grandchildren to spend a night in prison for a debt. She didn't kill nobody. She didn't rob anybody. But if you want to talk about things on a platform, talk about the hardship that the people in this constituency are facing. Talk about the unfairness that people in this constituency are facing daily. Don't come and talk about me. I know you ain't as good looking as me, but don't talk about me. Talk about the issues. And it is unfortunate that a Democratic Labour Party platform, time and time again, does not address the issues of the day. That instead what they do is they criticize the Barbados Labour Party. They criticize its leadership. They criticize what we wear. They criticize how we speak. They criticize every single thing about the Barbados Labour Party. I would want you, the people of this country, to believe that better cannot be done. That they are doing enough. That the Barbados Labour Party left this country in such a state that they're unable to pick up the pieces to be able to deliver the promises that they made. But it is not from my mouth, but from the words of the Democratic Labour Party members of Parliament, who have said that what they promised to the people of this country in 2008 was overly ambitious. It is their words, not mine. And they say so because they know that when they came in 2008 with all the music trucks, and they came with all the foreign artists and the regional artists, that they did so to be able to whitewash the message of what it was that they wanted to achieve. And that is why they cannot stand on any political platform across this country and tell you how they are going to improve your standard of living, whether today, tomorrow, or 5 years from now. Instead, they want to raise the dead. They're going all the way back to Errol Barrow. They're going for David Thompson. But they cannot tell the people of this country what it is that they have done for the past 5 years. It is not about constituency councils and free bus fares. It is about the fact that the cost of living, which they told you was so high on their Barbados Labour Party administration, has further skyrocketed under a Democratic Labour Party administration. They complained about the value-added tax. But instead, what have they come to office and done? They've raised the value-added tax by 2.5%. The electricity rates have increased. Water rates have increased by over 60%. And every day I'm calling Barbados Water Authority to beg for somebody's water not to be cut off, or somebody's electricity not to be cut, so that the parent can iron the school child's clothes to be able to send them to school. And the Democratic Labour Party would want you to vote for them? Well, As Lil Rick said the other night, because you know they say Lil Rick sell out. But Lil Rick tell one, he has not sold out, he has spoken out. And he is going to make sure that they are voted out. Because they lied to him, they lied to the young people of this country, and they lied to each and every one of you. And it is the hope of a better tomorrow that is the message of the Barbados Labour Party. It is a better tomorrow for not BLP supporters alone, but it is a better tomorrow for all Barbadians. It is a better tomorrow that is shaped by policies that understand that we cannot rely on the things that we were accustomed to relying on to generate foreign exchange for this country. It is a better tomorrow that understands that we have to spend and to diversify other areas of the economy if we are going to generate money to be able to pay for our social services. When the Barbados Labour Party tells you that we have lost $2 billion in the international business sector, it doesn't do so to confuse your minds about what the international business sector is. It says it to the people of Barbados because it speaks to a lazy government, a government that does not understand that if you do not take care of the very sectors that generate revenue for this country, that you will find yourself in a situation where other countries become far more attractive than our very own little rock. That is what the Barbados Labour Party has been saying to them. And we've also said to them that if you do not do what is necessary to market Barbados as an important destination, and instead rely on the same tactics that you used before, that we will find ourselves having fewer and fewer people in our hotels. And we will find fewer and fewer people paying for the taxis to leave the airport. And we will find fewer and fewer people in our restaurants and all of the ancillary services that benefit from the tourism sector will dwindle. And that is the Barbados Labour Party message to you. That the Democratic Labour Party is not telling you what it is doing to diversify this economy. They cannot tell you about simple sectors like the creative industries and what they're doing in the creative economy. When the Barbados Labour Party left office in 2008, we left a draft piece of legislation called the Creative Industries Bill. The Democratic Labour Party came to office. They have had 3 ministers since they took up office. They've had various CEOs of the National Cultural Foundation. And to date, they have left office and they have not been able to bring the legislation to Parliament. I say to you tonight that if we often say that culture is not as important as the other sectors of our economy, if the Democratic Labour Party is wasting time in culture, then what are they doing in the other more important sectors? Because we're not seeing anything happening in sectors that we know are well established for generating income for this country. And let us not talk about the healthcare sector. Because we all know that when Senator Garner speaks about, well, sorry, she ain't no senator no more. Because they didn't even tell her that Parliament had been dissolved and she turned up for Parliament. But that's another story. But when Irene Sandiford Garner and Donville Innes speak about the healthcare system, you would believe that we have the greatest healthcare system in the world. And whilst we may have a better healthcare system than many other territories in the Caribbean, Barbadians are not accustomed to second best, man. We are accustomed to punching above our weight. We are accustomed to striving to be the best that we can be. But what they come and tell you is that they paint a couple walls in QEH and they hire a few more people. But they do not tell you that the waiting time is an unreasonable amount of time for the service to be dispatched to our people, and that they are not solving the issues of the waiting times at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. They're not telling you that now that they've changed the formulary, that a number of our old people are scared. Because when old people get accustomed to taking a particular type of medication. And then they're asked to take another type of medication. They become fearful that the medication is not going to work. And I can tell you, because my grandmother has gone through this as well. Fearful that when the doctors give her a different kind of medication, oftentimes she will get sick before she goes on to the next medication. And at 87 years old, you can understand how a lot of our elderly people are feeling about the healthcare system. But you don't hear the Democratic Labour Party talking about that. You don't hear the Democratic Labour Party talking about how they're going to reform the healthcare system. You see them opening a wing at the hospital with Rihanna and smiling pretty on the cameras. But they don't tell you how they're going to address a lot of the faulty equipment at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And I can stand here tonight and tell you that I experienced it myself. Because on All Year's night, I was at the hospital with my grandmother. And when the nurse put the machine on her to test the heart, the machine refused to work. And she turned to another nurse and she said, "Oh, this ain't working. You gotta see if they got another one by your ward." Very calm and cool. But the fact is that that is not the standard of health care to which we want in this country. It is not okay to have that level of health care. But the Democratic Labour Party would want you to settle for a level of mediocrity in this country. And I say to you tonight that that is not the Barbados Labour Party way. The Democratic Labour Party has come to the Parliament of Barbados time and time again with legislation that on their own admission has been flawed. On their own admission, better to pass it through the House of Parliament and let the lawyers get a little work to fix it and put it right, than to put it right in the first place. That is not the Barbados Labour Party way, man. Owen Seymour Arthur will not let that happen. What did he, when there were problems in this country, he told the Cabinet of Barbados, face it and fix it. The Barbados Labour Party way is to strive for perfection, is to uplift the people of this country by empowering them to do the best and to be the best that they can be in this country, not to settle for second best. But what is interesting is that this administration, I believe, will continue till the 20th to come on each political platform and try to feed you their fodder. And I beg and implore the people of this country not to fall for the propaganda of the Democratic Labour Party. We had a situation recently where letters were distributed to many of you who would have qualified to be homeowners under the 20-year policy that was introduced by the Democratic Labour Party. Patrick Tannis wrote you a letter on the day that the legislation was going to Parliament and told you that he had been in communication with the Minister of Housing and Lands and that he had spoken to the parliamentary representative Hamilton Lashley and that we were in the final stages of you having your title deeds. Now, many of you may not know, but I'm going to tell you tonight because I am sick and tired of the Democratic Labour Party lies. In order for you to receive your title deeds, you have to have your land surveyed. So when the Barbados Labour Party says to the people of this country that the Democratic Labour Party has rushed to Parliament with this legislation so that they can tell you that they're in the process of handing over title deeds to each and every one of you, again, it is a lie. And I'm calling them out tonight because they're lying. It is not the final stage because there are several areas in this constituency where the lands have not been surveyed. And that even many of you would know that since the legislation has been passed, you haven't received any title deeds. Nobody has come out and surveyed your lands. The broken down doors that you have at the front door and the back door haven't been fixed. The windows that leak and bring through water when the rain falls are still rotting. And the woodens that eating out the beams in the roof are still there. So when we say to them, we have no difficulty with you getting your homes, but good God, have a conscience and tell the people how you are going to pay for the repairs that have to be done. Where is the fund and the money coming from to be able to repair the things that need to be done before the house is conveyed over to you? That is what we have asked them. But they come with their evil and destructive lies, telling the people of this country that I stood in Parliament and said that the Barbados Labour Party is going to revoke the title deeds and revoke the legislation. But what they failed to realize is that I'm a Bradshaw. I may be little, but my back is broad. And I will never stand on a political platform and lie to the people of this country. I will never stand on a political platform and say anything that will not redound to the benefit of the people of this constituency. And that if it is that you are to receive the title deeds to your property, it must be done in a systematic way. Under the Barbados Labour Party, we started the process of conveying the houses to you. But we understood that we couldn't simply convey the properties to you, but we had to ensure that we had the money to put things right before we did it. Because that is the Barbados Labour Party way. So when they're talking their nonsense, they need to understand and appreciate that we have a voice as well, and that we have a responsibility as politicians to not only seek the vote, but to take you into your confidence and to explain to you the process by which we are going to take you where you need to go. When we tell you we are going to create housing, we make sure that all of the contractors in this country, and as many of the contractors in this country, will benefit from our housing policy. We don't put our housing policy in the hands of any one person. We make sure that when our young people and our middle-aged people come out of community college and SJPP and have trained with skills to be masons and carpenters and artisans in this country, that there is work for them to do. We don't simply hand over work to contractors who will provide slab work for homes to be constructed in this country. But you have seen under the Democratic Labour Party a very mischievous behavior, and one which has been nothing more than self-serving. Because there are young people on the block who constantly say to me, they have skills, but they cannot find work in this country. There are people who want to work and they cannot find work. And when they say to me that the people of St. Michael's Southeast only about money, I say to them, that is not what I have found. More people ask me for work than they ask me for money. Because people in this constituency want to be able to afford to be able to do for themselves. And that is what the Barbados Labour Party is about. Not about handouts, but about giving you the opportunity to have a little pride in what you do and how you sustain your families. To ensure that you can put food on the table and you don't have to beg anybody for the food that is there. But that is not the Democratic Labour Party way. It is the Barbados Labour Party way. And it is not the Barbados Labour Party way to be critical of the Democratic Labour Party, but rather to offer solutions to the problems that we face in this country. So when I hear talk from my opponent that when we delivered soups to the needy people in this constituency, that the soup was stale, I say, good God. You mean you have nothing to say but to talk about soup? Santia Bradshaw, myself, and others came through this constituency relentlessly on Saturday mornings and assisted many in this constituency to provide a meal, and not just a meal, but a balanced meal with soup and vegetables, something to sustain themselves. And my opponent will have the audacity to talk about stale soup. That is what we have been reduced to. And I say to each and every one of you that the program that we had in this constituency going with respect to the soup, because it is important that you understand, because I have no money tree. I don't go in my back garden and pull money off of the tree. But what I do is I appeal to the good nature of corporate Barbados and to people living abroad who understand the needs of the constituency and who understand that if they cannot figure out how to give back to Barbados and to Barbadians, that if they can use me as a vehicle through my charity to be able to give to the people of St. Michael's Southeast, that they will do so. And that program that we had was not a Barbados Labour Party program. It was not a St. Michael's Southeast program. It was the provision of soups by the plantation in conjunction with other businesses across Barbados that recognized the needs in St. Michael's Southeast and across Barbados and wanting to be able to lend a helping hand to you. It wasn't Santia Bradshaw alone, because Barbados Labour Party supporters got assistance through the program. Charitable organizations across this country also benefited from the program because they came in their vehicles to the plantation and collected the soups and the rolls and the milk and the juice that many of you got. And what is sickening is that the Democratic Labour Party candidates were also offered the same services, and not one of them approached the plantation and took the soup. That is the nature of the Democratic Labour Party. It wasn't Barbados Labour Party soup. It was soup. And it is hurtful to know that many of the people who worked at the plantation and volunteered their services live within this very constituency. So it was your people giving back to your people. And that is what is negligent and reckless by Mr. Patrick Tannis and others who wish to claim that what we did with respect to distributing soups in this constituency was done with any bad or malice on the part of myself or others. But I ask you simply in this constituency to judge me not on the basis of other politicians. Judge me on the basis of what I bring to St. Michael's Southeast. I am young, good looking, but I also have given of my time to serve the people and to serve them endlessly and to serve them, as I started by saying, for a very, very long time. Because I want to see the youngsters in the Cricket Academy grow. And I want to see the youngsters in the Pinelands Youth Soccer Academy grow to be young men and women and strong men and women of this country. And I want to see them be able to take care of the elderly in this community. And to do so because I have helped to shape a better way of life for them and to be able to transform this constituency. Because I know when I was growing up, my dad would often say to me, the Pine was once known as P for Perry, P for prison. And I say to you, we need to be able to transform this constituency once again. We need to be able to walk through this constituency fearless. We need to be able to work with other people in the area and not see St. Michael's Southeast as the Pine, but to understand that the borders of St. Michael's Southeast stretch as far as Haggett Hall and Dash Valley and Mount Friendship and Fort George and Upton and Kent, and not just the Pinelands community. But we are going to build back the Pinelands community. We're going to build it back together. And we're going to start with the basics. Because on the 21st of February, when I'm elected as the next representative for St. Michael Southeast, we are going to continue the journey that has already begun. Because we are going to be on a journey to transform the lives of each and every one of you in this constituency. And we're going to do so together. We're going to do so because we explained to you what as a Barbados Labour Party we have to do in order to get the country going again. Because jobs will not come on the 22nd. Jobs may not come on the 23rd. But I give you the assurance that the standard of living, the cost of living, unemployment in this country will be restored and it will come down. And that the way of life that you enjoyed under a Barbados Labour Party administration will be restored once again. To those of you who believe that the Barbados Labour Party is ready to serve each and every one of you, and who have turned out in your numbers at each and every one of our meetings, and I've seen young people that I never believed would come to political meetings and they're red. Not because of me, but they come to political meetings believing that there is hope. They come to political meetings understanding that there will be a better tomorrow under the Barbados Labour Party. Because I'm going to tell you, I believe it in my core that the Barbados Labour Party has a vision for this country. And it just needs the opportunity once again to be able to deliver to the people of this country. And we may have made mistakes before. I will not stand here and tell you otherwise. But experience and the wisdom that we have now helps us to be able to chart the way forward. There is a passion in the soul of the Barbados Labour Party candidates. And they understand that better can be done in this country. They understand that they need to lift the people of this country from the bowels of the Democratic Labour Party and bring them again to a place of hope in this country. And that we can put Barbados back on the map and give our people a sense of hope and not hopelessness. And so I ask each and every one of you, come out in your numbers on the 21st of February. I feel as though the celebration has already begun. But I am not complacent. I am going to continue to walk and to work because the journey has only just begun. There is a lot of work to do in St. Michael Southeast. I have no time for the criticism. I don't care what they say about me. The difference between me and a lot of the others is that I have lived through Santia Bradshaw and I know what it is to be in public life. So they can say what they want and they can try to pick Santia Bradshaw apart. But my focus is clear and my mission is clear. And when I stand on a political platform to speak to you, I speak to you from my heart because I believe that we can do better as a country. I believe that we can do better as St. Michael Southeast. I believe that we can do better as a Barbados Labour Party and a Democratic Labour Party people. I believe in the people and the sincerity of the people of this country to do better for themselves and for a better way of life for all Barbadians. And I ask each and every one of you to believe in yourselves. You don't have to like the Barbados Labour Party. You don't have to like me. But you have to ask yourselves if your lives are better since the Democratic Labour Party came to office. And you have to ask yourselves whether if they're in office for another 5 years, if you feel that your life will be improved. And if the answer to that is no, then you have no choice but to vote them out on the 21st of February. It is a simple task that the people of this country are being asked to do. As Sleepy Smith said to the Democratic Labour Party, if they do not fulfill what they say, you vote them out. And the time has come in our political lives where we have to send a message to politicians that they are there to serve the people of this country. And we have had enough, not just of them, but of politicians who say they are going to do something and not bring the people into their confidence and deliver what they say they are going to do. And the same young people who helped to vote them in, gonna be the same young people who helped to vote them out. Mark my word. I say to each and every one of you tonight before I leave this stage, I am in this for the long haul. The support that the St. Michael Southeast has given me gives me wings to fly, because I feel very proud to be able to serve the people that I have walked amongst, that have looked after me, that have made me feel that in me they have a hope. And I give you my promise, not a promise for anything else, but that I will give you the best of me if you elect me as your next representative for St. Michael Southeast. I thank you and God bless.
Oh, what is? Yo, Tanis, you have no idea who you're up against, my friend. When I have no time with them.
Yo, Bradshaw, you fi tell them you have no idea what you are up against. Elections morning. You have no idea who you are up against on elections morning. Because Santia up on top, so push your hands and fans them up. Bradshaw them can't stop, so push your hands and fans them up. Santia up on top, so push your hands and fans them up. Like a package we sell, Santia we charge up, we charge up. We charge up, we can't tire, but pressure we charge up, we charge up, Santia charge up. Somebody tell Tanis you fi move on the way, move on the way, move on the way, move on the way, because we full of energy, pack up our energy, move on the way, and if you never know, the BLP, we come to rise up, we come to rise up, I said the BLP, we come to rise up. We come to rise up. We coming to take them down. We winning this round.
Now you, the residents and the constituents of St. Michael Southeast, just heard your next representative, and who will be here for a long time to represent the people of St. Michael Southeast. Before I bring the next speaker to you, I was made to understand that the opponent who got up here last night and said that the residents in Meadow Road are bitter over the incident, he didn't tell you when he went to Meadow Road the Saturday morning and but us in Meadow Road that out of the 20 houses, one woman out of one house came out in yellow to him. Everybody else came out in their red and their Santia Bradshaw posters. Currently, he's having a meeting with 13 people in the same place that the residents supposed to be bitter. The BLP went down there too. Santia Bradshaw, all the way, all 9 boxes, coming to the Barbados Labour Party. I will now like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Clyde Maskell, the opposition spokesperson, the BLP spokesperson on economic matters, and he will bring to you some truth about the economic statistics in Barbados. This is a stinker show. This is about Clyde Maskell and the Barbados Labour Party bringing to you the truth. As I told you from the beginning, this platform will speak truth and only the truth tonight.
We fed up, we fixed education in a mess. You hear that? More workers go home again. You see me now?
That's what you're saying. Good night to the people of the Pine. This is a serious election that requires serious people to do serious work. You have a choice, a simple choice. Put a talented, young, good-looking woman in the Parliament of Barbados to supply the things you need, to get the things you need done, with a competent leader like Owen Arthur and a cadre of excellent candidates in this election. I come to you tonight to tell you that last election, you gave a group of men and women a chance to lead you based on the number of lies that were told. They walked the line from Breath of Barbados, telling you that they can solve the cost of living problem It is their number one problem, their number two problem, their number three problem. Telling you that they will be able to put policies in place to be able to generate employment in the private sector. Well, we have lost 16,000 jobs in the private sector over the last 5 years. They told you that they can cause the economy to grow because they have the policies and programs. The Barbados economy is now smaller in 2012, 2013 than it was in 2007. Barbadians, you are worse off. But I'm also here tonight to bring a message of hope, because it does not make sense only criticizing the government for what it has done or failed to do. But we're here because we have conceived of a set of policies and programs that can lift you up. And we have decided that, contrary to what is being said by the other side, that we can formulate those policies in your interest. In fact, the government has already said that nothing can be done to turn around the fortunes of the Barbados economy. Therefore, you can expect no real policies in the coming manifesto of the Democratic Labour Party. On the other hand, I can tell you, because I was given the responsibility by OINATA to coordinate the manifesto of the Barbados Labour Party, and I have done so along with the assistance of many people and his direct involvement and excellent involvement in the crafting of the manifesto of the Barbados Labour Party. We have determined that you now face an electricity bill when you were promised in 2008 that the entire electricity bill, the VAT on electricity, will be removed. You were told that it was a promise in the manifesto of the Democratic Labour Party. But they did not do their homework. Now that we have done the research, we recognize that the electricity bill, the amount of VAT on it, contributes between $85 and $90 million per year for our government. And in these circumstances where the government is broke, literally broke, and has to borrow $40 million per month to pay salaries and pay interest debt, I'm telling you that they could not have afforded to remove the VAT on electricity. But we are going to do that for you, not the entire VAT, because it would be irresponsible. We are going to bring the value-added tax from 17.5% back to 15% where it was. And that is going to cost us, as a government, a mere $12 million to execute. But we have also determined that the Barbados National Oil Company, whose major customer is the Barbados Light and Power, that they're making too much profits, between $50 and $60 million of profit per year, on the backs of Barbadians and Barbadian users of electricity. So I can tell you this tonight, that we are going to cut the profitability of the Barbados National Oil Company by about $40 million or so, and reduce the fuel adjustment clause on your electricity bill, and therefore cause you to pay less for the electricity come the 22nd of February 2013. It is affordable. It can be done, and it will be done, because we have studied the figures, and we are not playing any games, because the international community is looking at us. We have been downgraded on 2 occasions within the last 8 months to junk status. But people, it does not stop there. I marvel sometimes at the Minister of Housing, who attempts to embrace a policy that I conceived of in 2003. The national housing units that you're hearing about being given away were actually conceived by me in 2003. It is my intellectual property. I have therefore asked the Barbados Labour Party to now consider revising that policy to be even come more effective for the people of constituencies like yours, because I represented a constituency that had 4 housing areas: the Farm, Ferniehurst, Rosemont, and Golden Acre. The important thing here to recognize is this: once we have executed that policy, and there will be a change in government come the 21st of February. There will be a change in government. Don't worry about whether that will happen. It's just a question of the magnitude of the victory. But there will be a change in the government, and everybody knows it. What will happen, however, is that once you decide to put that policy in place, the National Housing Corporation will therefore have less and less to do. As a result, we have conceived of a policy which is in the manifesto to be delivered on Thursday that will give even greater benefit to the National Housing Unit owners come the 22nd of February. So you can look forward to it. I don't want to give too much, but it is there. But we do not stop there either, because it is all about finding solutions. How can you as a government, in these circumstances, tell the people of Barbados that nothing can be done to reverse the economic fortunes of Barbados? How can you agree that you sit in a cabinet every Thursday and you cannot conceive of any policies to help the people of Barbados? I cannot even begin to think that you would want to be part of a government without having to find solutions to rescue the people in their dire need. Now, you were told that the cost of living would be brought down. You were told, and may he rest in peace, that vegetables and fruits, every such thing would come out of Dominica. You were told that. You were told by the bull terrier, David Eswick, that he is in fact going to create supermarkets that will bring in food to compete with private sector supermarkets. We have not yet seen any such thing because it cannot be done. It simply cannot be done. And you have to understand this. A typical supermarket of the size of Trimar carries about 30,000 items in it. Over 30,000 items are sold in a typical supermarket. It therefore means that a supermarket operates on the basis of credit. It borrows simply from a distributor. It therefore has to turn over those items as quickly as possible to be able to make profit. How could a government even begin to source those items from several different places at the kinds of levels that they will have to do so for one supermarket and make a difference to the pricing of items across the line from Barbados? It was always rubbish to say it. It is still rubbish, and it will be very rubbish in the future. So that cannot be the basis for solving any of our difficulties. What has to be the basis is this. Barbadians, and if there are public sector workers in this audience, you can put your hand in the air and say that you have not received an increase in salary since 2008. You have not received an increase in salary. However, food prices have gone up by over 35%. Electricity bill has gone up by over 72%. Water bill has gone up by 60%. So therefore, if you have not had an increase in income over that period, but you're confronting higher and higher prices, it means that you have to be worse off than you were in the year 2007. So what is our plan? We have a simple plan based on simple economics. The reason why we have characterized what has happened to Barbados since 2008 as a fiscal crisis and not an economic crisis is because our government has overspent over the last 4 to 5 years. Our government has overspent, and we're going to be able to prove that simply. No government in the history of Barbados has ever had to look for more than $21 million to cover the gap between what it collects in revenue and what it spends in current expenditure. Current expenditure for the government has 4 categories. You have wages and salaries that you have to pay. You have goods and services that you buy for the hospitals and other such institutions. You have the interest payment on the debt that you have that is outstanding, and there are transfers and subsidies that are made to secondary schools, to the Barbados Water Authority, the Barbados Transport Board, the Barbados Tourism Authority, and other such statutory boards. Anytime a government has to look for $550 million to cover that gap, the government is experiencing a major crisis on its hand, and this has happened over the last 4 to 5 years. Now, today, I call the calling program because Owen Arthur, who does not normally call, intervened. And then David, whoever he is, Sinclair, he decided that he would come in and make a contribution. And as usual, he is prone to telling lies. See, he is a chronic liar. He is a chronic liar. So he gives the impression that the CLICO affair cannot be solved and that it would require $837 million to do so. Now, why on earth would you have a forensic audit and pay millions of dollars to the auditors? Why would you put in place a judicial manager if a solution cannot be found for the CLICO affair? You would be wasting money, wouldn't you? So therefore, there are solutions to the CLICO affair. The question is, how can we structure such a solution to make sure that we give the benefits that we want to give to Barbadians first and foremost, and then we could look to deal with other issues across the region. The issue is this. Yes, we have a comprehensive policy for solving that CLICO affair because we would have met with the members of BEPA. And that young lady who came after he made his observation about the extent of the problem, June Fowler, and indicated that he was wrong not to tell the people of Barbados that the companies also have assets. He has verbally abused. He called her a mugin. He then referred to a ball-pooch cat. But he also talked about me in such terms as well. He talked about a squeezed pooch. So what I have to tell Sinclair is this. He seems obsessed with pooches. In fact, Sinclair is a pooch picker. Any man that is going to walk about to observe what another man's pooch looks like is a man to squeeze your pooch around. So I had a lot of practice while I was there squeezing my pooch. I could not believe it. And then he refers to this lady as a bald pooch cat, and that he had a little cat called Poochie. Amazing. When we are saddled with the kinds of difficulties that we have in Barbados, that you could have individuals coming to speak to you on such an important occasion about these kinds of things. Well, people, I do not like to waste time on a platform because I see the task of governance as a serious task. And I have come because I was given the responsibility by OINAFA to do lots of things. The first thing he did was to make me the spokesman on economic affairs. And I have the wonderful privilege of bringing to you a man who is tried and tested, a man who is proven, a man who is respected across the region as not only a top political figure, but an economic figure by way of his policies and programs over the last 14 years. I bring to you the Right Honorable Owen Seymour Arthur, next Prime Minister of Barbados, and Santia Bradshaw.